Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Bikes for Death podcast. As always, my name is Patrick, and I'm your host. And on today's episode, I go for a bike packing trip on my very own route. This is the East Texas Lowdown route, and it's a new route for 2023 in the East Texas Showdown series. So now we're going to have three routes. This is the Lowdown, which is about 170 miles. Then we have the Slowdown, which is 280 miles, and the Showdown, which is 400 miles this year. And the cool thing about the Lowdown is that it is designed to be non-competitive bike packing ride. Of course, I guess you can go as fast as you want to, but we're not taking times and nobody's going to care. This is designed for fun, to get out on your bikes and get in the woods with some friends. And my friend Connor and I were the first people to ride this route. And I decided to bring my microphone along and take you along for the journey. You'll also hear my friend Natalie joined us on day one, so you'll hear her chime in through the episode, but she wasn't able to join for the whole time. So that's what we got going on today. One note about this episode is that I recorded it back in October of 2022. So some of the things that I comment on might be a little bit out of date. But anyway, just keep that in mind as you're listening to it. But the route hasn't changed. My experience didn't change. And wasn't sure if I was going to release it, because if you listen to the last week's episode, I touched on how doing these trip reports and recording while bike packing has been a little bit of a challenge, both from a technical standpoint and from just figuring out the format of the show. And I wasn't sure if this one really made the cut, but one of the main pieces of feedback that I got from listeners was that they wanted to hear more content from just regular people going out and riding their bikes. And you can't get any more regular than me. And so, you know what? The content isn't exactly up to where I would like it to be. But I do think there was some really good aspects of this episode, and I learned a lot. And I think next time I tackle something like this, it's going to be even better. So I actually give a pretty good intro to this episode once we actually get into it. So I'll save that for then. But anyone who has signed up to do the Texas Lowdown this year, you'll be especially interested to listen to this episode. And the route is out there. Anybody can go ride it anytime that they want to. If you want to find the route, you can go to easttexasshowdown.com. The route is there. It's available, and anyone can go ride it. It's got POIs for camping and everything you need. So we have vetted this route. It goes through, and it's great. It's a great route. Humble brag, I guess, but yeah, I'm really happy with it, and I'm looking forward to getting everybody out there this year and riding it. So before we get to today's episode, as is tradition, let's thank the people that made today's episode possible, starting with our latest batch of patrons. I want to give a shout out to everybody. We saw a great response from last week's call to action, and really looking forward to this year. I'm feeling very optimistic, and I appreciate everybody who stepped up to be a patron. So let's give a shout out to Zachary, Loudon, Holly the dog. Wow, we even got dogs listening. That's great. Grant Beauprez, Travis Olson, and Jared Proegler. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to patrons who increased their pledge. These are existing patrons that decided to increase the amount of donation every month. So I'd like to give a shout out to John Hickman, Alan Boardman, Johnny DeMartin, Shane Hitz, and Nick Marzano. Thank you all very much. We cannot produce these episodes without support, and your contributions go a long way to help these podcasts keep showing up in your podcasting feed on a weekly basis. In that vein, I'd like to let you know that I also just released another episode of the Bikes for Death After Party. That is a patron-only podcast, and I just released a segment that didn't make the cut of the Eddie O'Day episode. Now, you'll know that Eddie O'Day, that episode won the most entertaining episode of the year. And I think this story that I posted to Patreon kind of highlights that. It's a story that he told as we were hanging out around the campfire, drinking beers, shooting the shit. And it's a great story. That is available now over at patreon.com. If you'd like to find out more, point your browser to patreon.com/bikesfordeath and sign up if you'd like to support this show and gain access to 9 after party episodes that are already available to you now. All right. Today's episode is brought to us by Athletic Greens. And if, like many people around the world, you are setting resolutions and they include health, wellness, and fitness, I highly encourage you to check out Athletic Greens. I've been using them. God, when did they come on as a sponsor? For probably at least 6 to 8 months ago. And as I mentioned on the podcast about 8 months ago, I changed my diet. I changed my relationship with alcohol. I started working out 6 days a week. And Athletic Greens has been a big part of my personal nutrition plan. So what I do 7 days a week is I make a smoothie every single day. And part of my smoothie makeup is Athletic Greens, 1 scoop of Athletic Greens. So I make sure I'm getting all of my vitamins and minerals. It's a quick and easy way to do that. And if I'm ever on the road, they make travel packs that makes it equally as easy, or on a bike packing trip. So it's a really great solution if you're looking to top off your health and nutrition, especially going into 2023. And Athletic Greens is making it easy for you to try their product. All you need to do is visit athleticgreens.com/bikesfordeath and get yourself a free 1 year of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Our next sponsor is Ombra's armless sunglasses. I actually just got a report from Ombra's from our ad campaign that we ran in 2022, and a lot of y'all have taken advantage of their offer, which is freaking awesome. And if you would like to join the list of Bikes for Death listeners that wear Ombra's, join me, Ultra Romance, John Watson, Sarah Swallow, among other people who absolutely love these sunglasses. We are making it very easy for you to get into a pair. All you have to do is visit ombraz.com. That's OMBRAZ.com. Put in the code BOD20, no spaces, just BOD20 at checkout. And Ombra's is going to give you $20 off your purchase. And then they're going to send us a check for $20 as a thank you for sending you to them. Now, it's worth noting that Ombra's had 3 different styles, lots of different colors and lenses options available, but they've recently added 2 more styles. So they have a total of 5 options. Personally, I think I have 4 pairs of them. I love them all. They're amazing. You never have to worry about them getting lost. If you're not wearing them, they're dangling around your neck. If you go surfing, you don't have to worry about them flying off or go on a river trip. Whatever the case may be, these are great adventure sunglasses, and they look cool too. And not to mention, when you take away the arms, it increases the comfort by 79%. I just made up that percentage. So if you want to try them out, head over to ombraz.com. Use the code BOD20 at checkout and save yourself $20 on a pair of Ombra's. And of course, you can find information for both Athletic Greens and Ombra's in the show notes or on the podcast page for Bikes or Death. All right, everybody, that's it. Let's get into today's episode with me, my friend Connor, and Natalie as we tackle the East Texas Lowdown. But first, let's have Miles Arbor kick it off with the Bikes or Death theme song.
You load up your bike, you ride away from home. You could be with your friends or you could be alone. You ride for a day or maybe more. You just love being in the great outdoors. Everything you need is strapped to your bars, including that new pillow you got from Santa Claus. And then you think, oh shit, to yourself. You left that super lightweight tent on the living room shelf. Bikes or death. Bikes or death. Podcast.
All right. Well, I'm sitting here in my office / studio / bike packing and gear room the eve before I depart on the East Texas Lowdown route. Why is it that every time I get ready for a trip, I'm always feeling disheveled and scatterbrained and just in general have this feeling like I'm forgetting something? Maybe that's because I haven't gone bikepacking in a while, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I'm sitting here on the eve, getting stuff ready to go, and I thought I'd record a little intro before I get out on the route, talk about why, talk about the route itself, and maybe talk a little bit about how I'm feeling going into it. We can get to know my feelings. So the first question I will address is why. And I think really the question here is, why haven't I ridden this route already? And that is a question that Hannah Simon posed to me during our meeting at the 2022 East Texas Showdown. And then she also called me out on a podcast, a bike pack racing podcast. She has a fair point. Why haven't I ridden this route? And I appreciate, Hannah, for your question both times. And the answer to that question is a little bit of a woe is me type story, but I don't want it to be a woe is me. I want it to be a this is me, this is my story. And it goes a little something like this. Whenever I posted that I was going to be doing this route on social media, I was challenged in a way to, I believe they said something along the lines of, Patrick, one of the things that you really do is bring context into the equation. You know, who are these people? What is their life story, and how does that impact them, and how does that help shape their story? And they challenged me to share my own story as it relates to this. And so without getting too personal, I thought that was an excellent point, and I appreciate the question, and I'm going to do my best to answer it as well as I can without babbling too much. I'm all about timelines, and so let's share mine. I started Bikes for Death in October of 2018, and a big motivation for me to start the podcast was simply because my day job was sucking the life out of me. Most of you will know that I've been a real estate agent for the last 13 years in as my real job. And when I started the podcast, it was simply a passion project. It was a continuation of many different ways in which I tried other passion projects, whether they be on YouTube, making videos, which I hope no one can ever find, or blog posts and websites. And, but the motivation was always to open people's eyes to the great outdoors and get people to not only understand, but appreciate this beautiful world that we live in. My favorite modality for exploring the world is on a bicycle. Like many of you, I fell in love with cycling as a young boy. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a family that took me camping, particularly through the Boy Scout program. And that exposed me to all of these things at a very young age. I was also given the freedom as a young boy to travel around the neighborhood on my bike and was free to explore and roam around town. And it was quite lovely. And as an adult, whenever I got reintroduced to cycling, I found that same joy, that same sense of freedom, that same sense of wanderlust was available to me whenever I got on my bike. And so for me, combining those two things was a really culminating and pivotal point in my life. And I was passionate about sharing it. I felt like at that time in my life, I needed to do something that made me feel good about being me, and the motivation from the very beginning was never to monetize the podcast or have it be my primary job or anything. It was simply a way for me to do something that I felt was valuable, something that I felt was important, and something that I could feel good about. it was from that place that I started Bikes for Death. I never could have imagined that it got listened to at all. I mean, I think I'm like any other person who starts a podcast, and there are many. You don't think many people are going to listen. I mean, what are the odds? There's like 3 million podcasts in the entire world. So, it would be very egotistical to think that you're going to produce a show that is going to capture the attention of a large sector of people. For some reason, this podcast has become successful. I think, at least by any metric I would personally give it, it has been successful beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And for that, I've always been grateful. So that's where things started, and things were going along, I guess, pretty well over the next couple years. And then COVID hit. For many of y'all, COVID was a difficult time, and I would not exclude myself from that list. My wife and I at that time, we initiated a divorce in March of 2020 that wasn't finalized until the beginning of November 2020. So it essentially spanned that entire year. And without inflating that situation and without going into much detail, I will say that by far 2020 has been without a doubt the most challenging year of my life. And I don't say that lightly. It was a challenging time for many reasons. One, I mean, going through a divorce is not fun. It was very difficult and challenging. Learning to be a single parent of 2 daughters while going through a divorce and trying to maintain those relationships and maintain my real estate business and maintain the podcast. It was supremely challenging, to say the least, to manage all of those things. In doing so, I knowingly neglected myself, both my physical and my mental health. I prioritized everybody else except for me. And I did that knowingly. It was a simple equation. And in that equation, my needs and my wants were not a priority. And that was okay for a time. My goals and the things that I was trying to accomplish required that I sacrifice so that I could be a father to my girls and maintain those relationships, maintain my real estate career, and maintain Bikes for Death. I never could have anticipated, but my passion and love for Bikes for Death and this podcast and what we do here took priority over even myself. And that's okay to an extent. Life, I do believe, is an endurance sport, and I never lost sight of that. But I did make a choice, and in doing so, I put myself last and I put everything else first. And after a year and a half of that, I found myself in probably the worst physical and mental condition that I've ever been in my life. So about 6 months ago, I made some very big changes in my life. I will say that before I was able to kind of point the attention back towards myself, I did have to take care of a lot of stuff on a personal level. Nothing is perfect, I would say, but I've been able to put myself in a better position to where I could finally start to take care of myself. So about 6 months ago, I started working out every single day. Well, 6 days a week. Let's say 6 days a week, and that's honest. And I cut way back on my drinking. I still like to drink every once in a while, but right now I'm sipping on a Topo Chico. I highly recommend them. And I improved my diet greatly. I have been very purposeful in trying to take care of myself and to heal myself, to create the life that I want to live. I mean, I really do want my body to be capable and to take me to amazing places. And over the last couple of years, I haven't really had that body. I haven't had that mind. I haven't been in that place. And so after this, over the past 6 months, I have really focused on that, and it's paid off. If we want to get into some numbers, I've lost about 11 pounds, and I just feel great. I feel great overall. I'm a lot more productive. I'm a lot more happy. I'm a lot more stable, and I'm in a much, much better place. I will say that, through that really tough time in my life, that absolutely Bikes or Death and this community, without y'all even knowing, help sustain me. You help to lift me up, and you help me get through one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through. And it's why I never let it go, is because I get so much out of this, and I appreciate this opportunity to have this voice. I appreciate this platform, and I appreciate each one of you. One of my goals is to be a better steward of this position and be a role model and practice what I preach. And, over the last year and a half, it's been tough. I have fallen short, but I'm happy to report that things are looking up, and tomorrow we go bike packing. So I hope that does a little to fill in where I'm coming from, both from a physical and a mental and emotional standpoint, and kind of where I'm at in my life right now. As I look towards tomorrow, I am mostly just super excited about going on this trip. The last bike packing trip I went on, I had to look it up, was 6 months ago. I went with the adventure media class there in the Lincoln National Forest, right outside of Ruidoso, New Mexico. Yeah, that's embarrassing to admit. It's been a while, and so I am really looking forward to getting out on the bike tomorrow. So let me tell you the plan real quick. We are going to be riding the East Texas Lowdown. This is a brand new route for the East Texas Showdown that's happening March of 2023. And if you want tickets, too bad. It's sold out, then it's sold out again. And now there's a waiting list till Jesus comes back and saves us all from our sins. So I am sorry, but that's just the way it is for this year. We are limited by insurance and permitting and venue, and, again, I'm kind of blown away by the interest in that event. It's super cool. I'm really excited about it. But the Lowdown was designed, or has been designed, to be not a race, but a non-competitive ride, a group ride, so to speak. Although you don't have to ride together. The idea is that we're going to meet somewhere and camp together and have a bonfire and beer and whatever. And I'm very excited about that, because that really dominoes on what we're trying to promote, or what I'm trying to promote, and really bring everybody together and give everybody an opportunity to experience bike packing in the way that they want to. So this route is 169 miles. It's about 5,700 feet of climbing. And it starts in the Sam Houston National Forest and goes up through the Davy Crockett National Forest. Kind of the fun thing about this one is no one's ridden it yet, so we're going to be the first ones to go out there and actually ride it and scout it out. Now, if you ride the Slowdown or the Showdown, you're going to ride 90% or more of this route. It is all part of the same route. But the neat thing about us is we're going to be looking at it from a ride standpoint, not a race. So, where are we going to eat for lunch? Where are we going to camp at? And all these things. And part of my goal as a storyteller is to take you along for the ride and to tell the story of this route. So we're going to be taking 3 days to do this. A couple reasons. One, my buddy Connor and I, we just like to be out there on our bikes, and neither of us are in a hurry. So it's just great to break this up into a few days. Also, just creating content takes time. Stopping to record or take pictures or make a video or talk to the people at the gas station and the restaurant and all these things. All those things take time. And not only that, but as the race director, these relationships and those interactions are important to me. And so while I'm scouting this route, I'm also going to be talking to people, letting them know about the race, telling them about the film, and getting them excited and putting this on their radar. So whenever y'all come rolling through in March, they'll be looking for you. So that's the plan. We don't have it set in stone. I think the first day we're going to go about 50 miles. There's a primitive camp there. And then the next day, we're going to just wing it. I think we're going to go about 60 miles or so. And then we're going to have to do a little wild camping because there's no actual camping there. But yeah, I'll take you along and let you know how it goes, but I'm not going to make any predictions because, like I said, we're going to be stopping, we're going to be talking to people, we're going to be taking pictures, and we're going to be trying to take you along for the ride as well. Some things I'm looking forward to are the weather. It has legit been 100 degrees up until this Sunday. Today is a Wednesday, and every single day it's getting slightly cooler. It looks like at nights we should be in the low of 50s, which is absolutely phenomenal. So the weather is hitting at just a perfect time. And to be honest with you, I don't even remember how to dress for 50 degrees. So I threw some clothes in the bag, and we're going to see how it all shakes out. I'm feeling pretty good about my equipment. I'm going to be taking the Crust Evasion on its first ever bike packing trip. I just got it outfitted with Rockgeist bags, and it's looking very tidy. It's in front of me right now, and I really built this bike with the East Texas Showdown in mind. This is very representative of the type of riding that I do, the type of riding that's in my area. And so the way I built my bike is very representative of that, from the tires to everything. Everything has been designed kind of around the type of riding that I do most in my area. And I am really looking forward to taking it on its first shakedown. One thing I'll say about our approach to this route, or at least mine, I don't know what Connor's doing. He does whatever he wants, and that's great. But I am not bringing any food with me at all. So the first resupply point is at mile 25. We're going to stop there and get lunch. And I'm going to grab something to go. I'm going to eat that for dinner and then just keep it going. So I'm just going to resupply on the way. And again, that's intentional. One, creating content takes time. So when I get to camp, I might need to record a video, record a podcast, take some pictures. And I don't always have time to cook. That's just a fact that I've had to learn to accept. And so if I can streamline that, I will. Plus, as the race director, I'm wanting to go in, meet the people, try the food, see what the facilities are like, and start developing a plan as to how we can accommodate the, 65 or so people that we have signed up for the Lowdown right now. So if you're doing the Lowdown in 2023, you will want to pay special attention, because the only thing I decided on was this is the route, and it's a non-competitive group ride, and everything from start to finish is really up in the air. And as I ride it these next few days, I'm going to be thinking and developing a plan. And so stay tuned to see how it goes. All right, well, I think that's it for an intro. I still have a little bit of packing to do. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but that's part of the fun of bike packing. You just make do, and it's going to be fine. I will check in with y'all probably tomorrow. Bye for now. I feel great. It's tradition that I just can't go bikepacking without starting it, without puking my brains out.
Is that a tradition?
No, I'm being a little silly, but it happens.
These things happen. Were you nervous on the bridge? So you're...
No, I feel really good today.
I can tell you're really good today. Just puke on the side of the road when I feel really good.
I'm just saying, prior to that, I felt really good. I don't know. I've told you I have a bad stomach. Ours are different, but for some reason, exercise can cause nausea for me, I guess. I don't even really know.
I've really thought about that in the heat.
In the heat?
In the heat.
Yeah.
It makes
yeah,
me
for
super
sure.
nauseous. That's why I have pencils in my pocket.
Connor, how many bike packing trips have I thrown up on?
None.
None?
I know.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a new tradition.
Well, I know I did on that trip that you and you and Ryan did on the hill country. I puked at the beginning of that route, but you weren't there yet. I'm actually just doing this so I can get the experience. I didn't need to throw up, but I wanted to.
Does it have a story?
I need a story.
You need some hard shit.
All right, gonna do a quick update. We're currently at mile 21 on the route. And, well, correction, we've ridden 21 miles so far, but we're at mile 16 on the route. Thanks to a routing error, courtesy of your host and the leader of this little shindig. Apparently, whenever I copied the route over, there was a little glitch, and that took us headed towards some private property, which is never advisable in Texas. So we're back on route, and we are just getting to the first little patch of gravel. This is Old Groveton Road or Old Onalaska Road, depending on what map you're looking at. And this route is rather infamous in these parts. It can either be sandy or rutted out. If it's been raining, it can be very wet. And lately it hasn't been raining much at all, so I'm expecting that it's going to be either sandy or rutted out. This road's about 4 or 5 miles and not too bad, or not too long, so no matter what, shouldn't be too big of a deal. We got a little bit of a late start today. We had wanted to hit the road about 10, but I think we made it out here closer to noon. Luckily the temperatures are pretty decent, gonna be highs in like the upper 80s, which this time of year for us we're really happy about. And tonight it's gonna get down into the 50s, which is also much needed and appreciated. So this morning has been slightly eventful. About 5 miles ago, I think I lost my breakfast on the side of the road. Other than that, I've been feeling really good. Added 5 miles onto the route today, so we get some bonus miles. And right now we're headed into Groveton, which will be our first stop. There's either a country cafe or there's a taqueria, and we're gonna have to pick between the two. So anyway, so far so good. All right, howdy, it's time to get rowdy. Oh man, you say weird shit when you're bike packing. We are out here all alone, no one for miles. Your mind, it goes to interesting places. But that's not my excuse. I've got a couple of friends here with me, and it's 3 o'clock. We just got through Old Groveton Road or Old Onalaska Road, heading into Groveton. We're just 23 miles in on the route, headed in, and we're gonna grab lunch at a taqueria there. Old Groveton Road was not bad today. We definitely got the sand. Lots and lots of sand, but overall 100% rideable, quite enjoyable. The only downside about that section is there is very little shade. A few little trees here and there, but overall it's very exposed. And now we're spit back on some pavement, and we're heading into Groveton, like I said. So we got 5 miles into town. We're gonna eat a little taqueria. Everything is feeling good. The bike is feeling amazing. The weather is just amazing. You can probably hear that wind. Going dead into a headwind right now, but it's almost 90 degrees and a little breeze feels nice. So I'm not complaining. And man, overall, feeling really good, feeling really strong, really happy with how I'm feeling, and everybody else is feeling good as well. Everybody's pushing and enjoying the day. So, I'm loving it. It's good to be out here. I'm looking forward to some Mexican food. All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. This is, it's actually 1 o'clock on day 2. I meant to hop on and do an update before this, but having too much fun riding my bike and enjoying the views and the company and all the things. And if I'm being honest, I just didn't feel like doing an update. And I find that that's one of the challenges with trying to create content, quote unquote, or specifically like a podcast while I'm out doing these trips, is I find it difficult to want to, turn on the recorder and quote unquote make content. So, but I'm in the mood now. So I like to listen to my gut, and if I'm not feeling like it, then I just don't do it. And if I feel like it, then I do. And that's how I like to roll. Speaking of rolling, we are, let's pull up the route. It has been beautiful. It is another beautiful day. It's supposed to get up to a high of 81 with temperatures getting down into like the upper 40s. Oh, there's a car behind me. I'm on a downhill. It's a big truck. He's not happy. He's not happy about this, but the audio is going to be shit anyway because it's downhill. Yeah, an asshole. I will say I caught that one on tape, but by and large, the traffic interaction on this route has been very, pretty limited. At least, for Texas, what we'd expect here. Coming from other parts of the country, your mileage may vary, but by and large, the traffic hasn't been bad at all, and the traffic we've engaged with has been real courteous and given us plenty of room, and really there's been no issues. But that guy, he sure was in a hurry, and he didn't mind leaving me in a cloud of dust whenever he passed by, and he didn't give me much room either, but that's all right. Can't all be winners, right? So, let's see. We're 20 miles in on day 2. I guess I'll catch up on yesterday before I get too far into today. But yesterday, I don't remember exactly where I left off, but Old Groveton Road is about 6 miles long. It starts about around mile 15 on the route, and it's usually in a state of disrepair in some way. It's not well maintained. And the first time I ever rode that road was in 2018 when I did the Grand Gravel 500. And it had rained so much that the mud was so deep that I could completely have my bike suspended in mud without being propped up on anything. So yesterday, Old Groveton Road was mostly just sandy. Not too bad though. It wasn't completely sand, and I think 100% rideable. I don't know if any of us. Anyway, we might have got off our bike once or something, but it was minimal. It was mostly rideable, and I'm not surprised by that. It's been very dry here, as it has been in many parts of the country. So it's not too terribly surprising that it's mostly sand. But yeah, so for anyone who's riding it in dry conditions, just expect sand at that point. But it's kind of a fun section. You never kind of know what you're going to get depending on what the conditions are. So it's just a variable that's constantly changing and kind of makes the route fun in a type 2 kind of way. And but it's just exposed. And yesterday the breeze was nice, but when we got to Groveton to eat lunch, I think we all went inside and kind of realized how just tired and mostly just sunstruck that we were. It was just so exposed. The temperatures were nice, but the sun was just baking us the whole time. And so it was kind of like three zombies eating and drinking lunch at Habaneros in Groveton. The food was pretty good Tex-Mex. It's funny, there's literally right next door, there's another Mexican restaurant. I don't remember the name, Los Palmos, or I don't remember. But so I pull into the first one, and Connor, he's like, no, it's this one over here. I'm like, holy shit, there's another one right there. All right. So we went to the one that had the highest ratings, and it was pretty good. It's our job to test out the establishments, the fine dining establishments out here on the Lowdown and Showdown route. And so gave that one a fair shake, and next time we'll have to try the one next door, and we'll do a review. But honestly, that stop was a lifesaver for everybody. I wouldn't say lifesaver, that's a little extreme. But we were all a little tuckered, and by the time we got out of there, it was probably like 3:30 or 4. So we were getting longer shadows, and the shadows were cool. And so we were all in really good spirits after lunch, and the rest of the ride to camp went super well. After you leave Groveton, you have a little section of pavement that takes you out to a bunch of gravel roads, and man, they were just quite nice. Not a lot of traffic. Really, I don't think there was a single car on that section. And then, the other thing I wanted to mention is we haven't had any dogs chase us so far. I mean, right now we're at 82 miles in, and we haven't had a single dog chase us. We've had a couple bark and whatnot, but it's been pretty smooth sailing. Day one, after I lost my breakfast and lost our way, had a couple hiccups. I mean, the rest of the day went off without a hitch, and I'd say the route starts to get really good after Groveton. And maybe I'm saying that because we were starting to get hot before Groveton, and maybe our spirits were starting to wane a little. And then afterwards, the temps started getting good again, and spirits were high. So I don't know, but it did seem like that part after Groveton, it started to get really good. That gravel mixed dirt section after Groveton, before you get to the wildlife management unit, that's really the beginning of the Davy Crockett National Forest. That just starts to get into some of the best parts of the route, in my opinion. Once you get there, you're dealing with hardly any traffic, any houses, dogs, anything. You're just in the piney trees, the loblolly pines of East Texas. This is what you came here for. This is it right here, and we are in it. Camped last night. We camped at a little hunter's camp at right off of the route at mile 51. You have to go off route about 1.5 miles. There's a little pond back there. You can see it right with GPS if you fancy a look. But yeah, we camped down there, and I brought my camp chair, which is the Helinox. I don't remember which one, the small one. It's like a pound. I love this thing. If I can find a way to take this chair, I am always going to take this chair. I guess unless I sign up for a race or something. But if I'm just bike packing, then I am going to find a way to take this chair, because it just pays dividends at camp. After a long day on the bike, no matter how you're feeling, dude, it just feels good to sit down like a human. So I had that. Connor did not. I don't know, he usually brings a chair, but he's going ultra lightweight this time, which is a little bit of a joke if you know Connor. Yeah, so we gathered what was left of any wood laying around there, made a little fire, and enjoyed a beautiful, cool night. Honestly, I can't tell you how nice it felt the fucking brutal summer that we've had. And I kid you not, the weather for this trip couldn't be better, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Like on Sunday, so today's Friday, on Sunday it was 100 degrees and low in the 70s. And every single day from Sunday till Thursday when we left, the temps just got lower. And at first it was like low of 54, then it was a low of 52, then it was a low of 49. And the really amazing part about that is that after this trip, the temps start going up again slightly. So, I mean, we are hitting this on a prime weather window, which has just been awesome. And it's exciting. It's invigorating. Makes me excited to go out there and ride my bike and start planning some more trips. I got another one planned here in 4 weeks. Gonna do the Texas Hill Country Loop with a friend. And it's gonna be her first bike packing trip. And that's gonna be exciting. New introduction into this wonderful world. And I'm looking forward to seeing my friend Bobette out there at Camp Life Festi on the Llano River. It's on the Texas Hill Country Loop. Can't recommend it more. Bobette is the best. So, and she knows about bike packers. She knows Maxwell's done a great job establishing that route and that relationship. And I've got to meet her. And she has just rolled out the red carpet for bike packers. She cleared out a whole section. But we're here to talk about the Lowdown, so we'll have to leave Bobette for now. So let's talk today. I'll just say last night, slept great. Slept absolutely amazing. The temperatures were great. I mean, after a long day on the bike, perfect temperatures, just sleeping under the stars. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. So, like I said, smooth sailing. I've heard this route's really good, and I'm starting to think it's pretty good. Helps with good weather too. I highly recommend bringing some good weather with you. Doing this a week ago would have been a whole nother experience, I'll tell you what. I would not be having as much fun right now. But what a difference a week makes. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about that I just started using is my aero bars. My friend Natalie and my friend Connor, who are riding with us on, Natalie was with us on day one. She had to skedoodle, but they're just running drop bars. And there were a couple envious people on this ride, I'll tell you what, of my aero bars, and I'm loving them. For me, aero bars are 100% about comfort. I will not deny that in a headwind, they are sure mighty nice to have. But when I put them on my bike, it is not for aerodynamics. It is purely for comfort. And I might sound like a broken record, but if you haven't listened to this podcast, then Connor's taking a picture. Oh, that's an old house. Wow. That's a cool house, man. And it's got the pass-through and everything, huh? Wow. That's cool. So let's see here. Where are we? At mile about 71 on the route. On the left-hand side. There's a really old, historically period-correct home. I don't want to age it. I mean, I'd say 200 years old. I don't think that one's 200 years old, but the period where it's got living quarters on either side and a pass-through through the middle to keep a breeze going. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. So, my aero bars. Yeah. Comfort. I always say, if you're happy on your bike, you're going to be in a better positive mental space. You're going to have more fun. The miles are going to go by faster. The aches and pains won't seem as achy or painy. And that all, for me, starts with comfort, being comfortable on your bike, enjoying being in the saddle. If you're miserable when you're riding and woefully uncomfortable, you're gonna not have a great time. And so one of the things I struggle with, always have, is hand pain, hand numbness, and aero bars are a great solution for that. I absolutely love them, and I'm glad I brought them on this trip. And I'll also say that, like, this is the type of route where aero bars completely make sense. There's lots of opportunities to be in aero bars. I mean, here I'm on gravel roads in the National Forest, but very smooth rolling. Yeah, lots of opportunities to utilize your aero bars on this route. So I'm happy with my decision, and my compadres are less happy with theirs. And that makes me feel like a winner. Oh, we got some hills. All right, I'm gonna take a break and catch you on the top. And just overall, very happy with my setup. I do have hand pain. My butt's a little tender, but nothing, nothing bad. I'm aware of it. But, and in that area, what I'm wearing, I'm not wearing chamois. I started wearing these like Chubbies shorts. I don't know if everybody else gets Instagram ads about them on the regular, but I ended up buying a pair one day, and I love them. They have these liners in there. You can take them swimming. I found they're great for bike packing, but there is no padding. But I like how everything's breathing, and I like how everything's moving down there and grooving together, and it's working for me. So my methodology here is to just toughen up the tushy over time. Toughen up the tushy over time. The 3 T's of tushy tenderization. Passing Mount Vernon Church here. That's fun. So yeah, bike's running good. I'm going kind of light. I've got my new Rock Guys half frame bag. I fucking love. So good. I love the way it looks. The colors are fucking awesome, but it's just super functional. And I got the extra large top tube bag. Loving that. Go big or go home. I'm putting all my electronics in there. Batteries and headlamps and all the bits like that. And that's cool. Well, yeah, good tire selection. I'm happy. There's not much I haven't been able to ride. A couple of sandy sections have been get out for a walk, but only a couple. It's good. It's so good. And physically and mentally, I'm feeling amazing. I've all the working out every day and eating right and everything. Well, gosh darn it, that pays off. It really, really does. And proof is in kind of, I don't want to say easy, but just feeling good. My body feels good. I'm in a good headspace. I'm enjoying this. I'm liking the route. And everything's great. So, I'm really happy. This is what happiness looks like right here. For me, at least. So, let's get to a little daily update on the actual route. So we woke up, didn't wake up last night. Connor and I were going to bed. We're like, what time do you want to get up? I don't know, let's get up at 8 and be out, wheels down by 9. That's pretty reasonable, right? Well, I don't think either one of us rolled out of bed until 9:30, and we were out of there by 10:30. That was fine. Connor and I are never in a hurry, and the temperatures are supposed to stay nice today, and we should be mostly in the Davy Crockett National Forest and really canopied by these loblolly pines. So, all things considered, I'm happy to take a couple extra hours of Z. And yeah, we got, our plan today is to do about another 60-ish miles. I say ish because we don't have a designated campsite this evening. If Connor had lights, I might try to talk him into riding through the night just for fun. I haven't done that in a couple years or a few years, so, but he doesn't have lights, so that's not really an option. But so we're gonna have to get creative with our camping this evening, which is fun. There's, I think, 3 churches within a 10-mile stretch that I think we could probably camp behind one of those. Tomorrow's not Sunday. We'll get out of there and pay our respects on our bikes. So yeah, we got wheels down at 10:30 and only about 6 miles to get to Apple Springs. And there used to be a little taqueria there that was so good. Oh man. And I only got to eat there one time. It looks like they're closed. They're not there anymore. But we went into Brookshire Brothers and, you know, they got tables and chairs there, and they got a Subway in there, and they got a deli. They had groceries and stuff, so it's pretty well stocked. But we were just grabbing breakfast, and so I had a coffee and a parfait. Coffee and a parfait. Refilled the water, and that's it. We made a pretty quick work of that. And we were right back into the National Forest, and we've basically been on gravel roads all day today. It's been very nice. There's just been a couple little patches of pavement getting us from here to there, but it's like, I don't know, 95 or 98% gravel today, and good gravel too. Fast. Yeah, we are, where we're at right now. Technology, oh technology. 2.5 miles from Ratcliffe, which we're 24 miles in on today. So we're at about the halfway mark. And we were disappointed to learn this morning that there was a cafe here at about mile 79 that called Cafe in the Pines. Looked really good. We were planning on stopping there for lunch. And while we were at breakfast this morning, Connor noticed that Google said it was closed, permanently closed. And I was surprised because I made kind of a route plan and sent it to the group. And I did that 2 weeks ago. And I checked all the restaurants, I checked their hours, you know, all that stuff. And now they're closed. So I think within the last 2 weeks they closed down, which was surprising. And also a good reminder to, you know, really check your POIs, especially out in the middle of wherever you're going to be, but especially out here. There's no guarantees that these little shops that, I mean, who knows, mom and pop that, I don't know. Can y'all hear me? Is this like the worst audio ever? And I do apologize for this audio. I bought 2 microphones and tested them out prior to this ride. And neither of them sounded better than what I'm using, which is the old school Apple Lightning, like the wired headphones, the ones you've been talking to. Ow. Whew, that was bumpy. And took like a rabbit's tail or whatever and the fluffy thing and put it around the microphone, and it works better than any of these expensive microphones, at least in this environment. So I don't know, I'm still looking for solutions. If you have one, please call me at 800 Bikes for Death and leave a message. Thank you. But I hope the audio is going to turn out okay. It's all an experiment, you know. It's called on-the-job training right here. So where was I? Oh yeah, that restaurant's closed. So now I think the plan is we're coming into this Ratcliffe town. There is a gas station, and I guess that's going to be lunch. And then there's a pizza place, I think at mile 110, that closes at 9. So I think that's going to be the goal and target. Our next mission is to get to that pizza joint at mile 110, and then I think camp somewhere after mile 120, which will leave us about 60 miles for tomorrow. So that'll mean that we'll ride. I don't know, yesterday we put in 60 miles, even though it was a 50-mile day. Part of that was a reroute, part of that is just going off route to get food and whatnot. So we'll see. This will end up being a 180 or 190 miles total probably. And that's what's been going on. After we stop at the gas station, there's this little campsite, Ratcliffe, that we're going to go check out. And I'm really trying to decide with this route as far as doing it as a group ride in March for the event, the Showdown race. If we break it up into 3 days, or if we do it as an overnighter, or if we just let people pick however they want to do it, you know. I lean towards obviously letting people do whatever they want to do, and I think they can. No one's gonna get mad at them, but you know, the thought was if we could all get together at like one campsite, you know, we could all hang out, drink some beers, tell some stories, tell some lies, you know. So I don't know, I'm still mulling it over, and part of that is checking out all the campsites along the way. We got this one here at Ratcliffe, which is more developed. We got the one we stayed at last night. Then after Ratcliffe, there's what's called a horse camp in the Davy Crockett National Forest. It's fairly primitive, but there is a pit toilet, there's a little pond, and they have kind of nothing glorified, but some very primitive campsites. So yeah, I'm gonna be checking out all those and just mulling it over. Probably do a poll for people signed up and see what they want to do. Probably a good idea to just ask them, but at least I have some ideas, you know. All right, well, 25 miles in today, and at least probably 35 more to go. Feeling good. Let's see how it goes. I am thinking, so I guess you can't help me think. I think about 27 miles so far. Yeah, we rode 60 yesterday and camped, and we're doing like 180 miles. So we're on day 2 of 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I am just looking. I'm going to look around and see. Yeah, I'm trying to decide what I need. I'm evaluating my life right now.
He's very patient with this.
Do y'all do sandwiches? I would love a sandwich.
We got Cooktown, pressed ham, turkey, summer sausage, bologna, and piccolo.
I'll do turkey and ham. It's like a regular sandwich, but a lot better because I'm hungry. It's nice and fresh. How you feeling?
All right. Ready for some pizza.
Yeah. Yeah. How much further is it till the pizza?
36.
36? Really?
Do you think it was farther or shorter?
Shorter.
I do too.
I almost don't believe you.
Gets on mile 111.
Yeah, that sounds right. Well, I trust you then. Oh, well. We've gone like 25 so far. I think it's going to be dinner. I'm calling this my lunch. Sorry, 27. Good morning, sports fans. cycling and bikepacking enthusiast. It is 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, and we are rolling out of Trinity after eating breakfast at the Trinity Cafe. I had a potato, egg, and cheese taco and a bacon, egg, and cheese taco. Connor had waffles, home fries, and something else, I think. Oh, bacon. But the cool thing was, right when we sat down, about 15 minutes later, the town was having their city parade. Oh, we got some sand. Oh, okay. Everything's fine. Oh, we got a truck up ahead that's getting a little rowdy. Off in the ditch, kicking up dust. These country boys, gotta watch out. All right. So yeah, we were at the Trinity Cafe this morning, and they were having their city parade. And I'd like to think that they did it in our honor, although that's probably, nothing could be further from the truth, but it felt special and fun. And so while we were eating our breakfast, we got to watch a parade right there through City Square. And Trinity is a pretty small town, so actually I know exactly because I saw the population sign, 2,423 people. Those are bumps. And so definitely it's a small East Texas town, and they had the old fire trucks and convertible Corvettes and big trucks towing trailers with people on them and the band and everything. So it was a good time. We guess I'll start with a little recap on ending out yesterday. There's a section between Pennington and Lovelady that is becoming notorious for all of its sand. And I just rode it for the first time, and I'm on 700 by 48C tires, so keep that in mind. And going along, I think it's about a 9-mile stretch between those two towns, 9 or 10 miles. And going along, I remember telling Connor, I was like, I don't know what all the fuss is about. We were probably about halfway through. I was like, this isn't that bad at all. You know, we're riding most stuff. And of course, I spoke way too soon. And not too long after that, the rest of the road just became pretty darn sandy. And where it wasn't sandy, the city or county had come in and filled in just these huge rocks that were pretty gnarly to ride through. So it was pretty miserable. We were, yesterday we had missed our lunch spot because it closed down. And so we were really looking forward to that pizza in Lovelady. And the sand was just kind of demoralizing. It was 4 o'clock, the hottest time of the day. And, so it wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't fun. That was the least fun we've had on the trip so far. And we went to Firehouse Pizza in Lovelady, got there about 6 o'clock. And Connor ordered a large pizza and I got a medium. And we ate everything we could. We literally stuffed ourselves until we were sick. And then we're coming on to Texas 19 South. So you're gonna hear some road noise, and I don't know what the audio is gonna be like, but we're just gonna do it anyway. Because there's only one way to find out. Well, there's 2 ways. You can Google it, or you can try it for yourself. And I'm all into the experiential learning. So last night, okay, yeah, this is actually dumb. I'll pick it up back in a little while. Okie dokie. Well, we just turned off of Texas 19 onto a farm to market road, and it's one of those 55 mile an hour two-lane roads where everybody's driving a million miles an hour. They're not my favorite, but that just means we are getting more and more into quote-unquote civilization, another small town. But looks like we got about 18, 20 miles left on the day. And I'm trying to remember where I left off when I was interrupted by traffic. That's called experiential learning right there. I don't think that took me very long to realize that wasn't going to work. So after pizza, we had very little daylight left, probably like 30 minutes or so. And we had decided that we're going to camp behind a little church there at around a mile 120 on the route. And that was quite a nice little spot. We appreciate their hospitality. They were quite nice. Went to bed pretty early and woke up today and got out. I think we're on the road by about 8:15 and got down to like 50 degrees last night. And I think I brought just the right amount of clothes. A couple times I got a little chilly, but nothing bad. I'll take it. And this morning was a little chilly of a start, but yeah, I'll take that all day long. And so today we had about 12 miles to get to breakfast in Trinity, that Trinity Cafe. And we did about half of that was on gravel roads and half of that was on these paved roads getting into town. And then, had a nice little breakfast there with the parade. And then we got on our merry way. I'll tell you, we're kind of, I'm going to say we're in a hurry today, but it's the last day. Connor wants to go watch a football game. So, got to get Connor to his football game. Don't want to miss kickoff. So, we're trying to hammer out the last day. And, everything's going good. Let's talk about how I'm feeling. I'll say the first 2 days, I felt really strong. I had some soreness in like back and shoulders and hands, but really, I felt strong in the legs and my cardio and everything. I'll tell you what, I woke up today and I was stiff, very well rested, felt great about my rest, but my body, I was like, okay, yeah, you're starting to feel it now. And I was not looking forward to get on the saddle. I could tell it was going to be tender. So first thing this morning, it took a little while to acclimate back to the bike. But it probably, I don't know, it didn't take too long before the butt and the hands and everything just got with the program. But the one thing that's different today is my legs are just starting to wear down. I still got a little pep in them, but not much pep. I can tell we're definitely slowing down, and that's fine. I feel good about what we did yesterday. Yesterday we ended up with a 73-mile day, which was the longest ride I've been on in a while, fully loaded. That was cool. I enjoyed that. 60 miles a day before that. And we'll see what we end up with today. But all in all, good riding. And I guess it's okay. My body's a little tired. To be expected. But I'm feeling good about today, even though I'm tired. It's not like I'm going to make it. I'm not having those thoughts, those fears, those doubts creep in. they're like, holy shit, is today one of those days where I'm gonna have to call someone to come pick me up? I'm not even close to that point. So yeah, today I might not be as spry as the first couple of days, but feeling good about just pushing through, no problem. One good thing, we should be done here in like an hour and 15 minutes if everything goes well. And that'll put us done for the day around 1:30 before it starts to get really hot, which was part of the plan. So yeah, last couple of days, man, they did get hot. So used to 100 degrees that I didn't think 80, mid 80s would feel that hot, but it still feels hot. And it sneaks up on you because you're kind of feeling good and there's a nice cool breeze, but the whole time you're still baking, which is what I have for breakfast. I'm trying to think what else, if anything eventful happened on this trip. Last night when we were going to bed, unbeknownst to us, we camped right by what we think is part of their septic system at this church. But I'm a real estate agent, and although I'm not a septic expert, I'd never seen a septic like this, and I have no idea what I was doing. But around about 10 o'clock last night, this thing just like has a loud click sound, like it's turning on, and it starts gushing out water. It's right by where we're camping, and it kind of like startled us a little bit. We're like, man, what is that? Go check it out. And our best guess is something to do with septic, but it's just pouring out water. Luckily, it's just the sound of water, and it was kind of relaxing, so it didn't distract me. I went right to sleep. Connor told me it shut off at like 4:30 in the morning. I guess he's a light sleeper because he said whenever it turned off, it clicked and it woke him up. So he knew when it turned off. So that thing ran for like 6 hours just gushing water. But luckily no harm or foul to us. Our first fear was that it was one of those field line septic sprinkler systems, and we were about to get drenched with sewer water. That would have been terrible, to say the least. I don't even want to think about it, but that's not what happened. We didn't have to move. We didn't have to evacuate in the night. So I thought I lost my pizza. I took a few slices with me from last night, and I couldn't find it. Looking in my frame bag, and man, I could have swore I put it in here. I guess some raccoons took it home with them last night while I was sleeping or something. And turns out it was in my hip pack. I forgot I had that on. No drama on this trip. I mean, first day had a couple, but maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. A little too optimistic. It's too early in the day to be this optimistic. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. This is an absolute thrill to be out here. I've been really happy with it. I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing this whole thing in its entirety, this route in its entirety, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. You have a pretty good idea of what it's like, and overall I've been really pleased. It's been good riding, beautiful. You haven't dealt with any crazy dogs or drivers or people or anything. Everything's just been pretty good, which has been a real focal point for me, is creating a route that is as safe as possible and devoid of traffic and people and dogs. And I mean, you can't get away from them completely, but working with the canvas that I have at my disposal, I'm pretty happy with it. So, all right, well, 15 miles left, I think. I'll hop back on if I got something to say. right now I'm just gonna pedal and enjoy the day. One thing I wanted to mention, I forgot about, was there at Texas 19 coming out of Trinity. There's this old bridge that you can still use, but it's like off of the main highway. And it's pretty cool. No one ever uses it, so you have the whole thing to yourself. And when we're going the opposite direction, you have to cross a 5-lane, like, busy highway to get to it, so it just doesn't make sense. But riding this route in reverse, you get to take that bridge. It's probably like 1.5 miles long, maybe a mile. And yeah, it's pretty fun. That was one of the things I was excited about for doing the route in reverse, is that we'd be able to check out that bridge and get to ride on it. And it's a good place. It goes right over the Trinity River. So it's a good place to stop and have a snack and take a picture, or maybe just keep on riding, whatever. So anyway, that's all. Baby, I'm back. I'm back. And I'm better than I ever was. 5 miles left to wrap this route up and this trip up. Feeling pretty good overall, but also not complaining about being close to the car, and most importantly, close to the Bullet Grill and a very cold IPA. And I'll definitely get something to eat, but right now, first things first, a tall glass of water, a frosty cold IPA, while I peruse the menu and see what catches my fancy. But yeah, we're on one of the last little stretches of gravel going in here to Point Blank, and feeling good. Feeling tired a little. Definitely have more in the tank, but like I said, not complaining about being done. You know, some trips they can kind of end too early, and you feel left wanting more. This one, I definitely feel quite satiated and satisfied. I guess that's the same words, but I feel good about it. I feel like we checked a lot of boxes, and overall went really well. Feeling really great to be back on the bike and feeling good, honestly. It's been a while. So I am enjoying the heck out of that. And really the main complaints are with my hands and my butt, and more riding, more saddle time. The butt will just toughen up. And maybe the hands will, maybe they won't, but that's just part of the game. So I'm gonna probably wrap this episode up whenever I get back home and kind of process the whole thing and see how my body's feeling, and yeah, just kind of have some time to sit with it. But overall, my impressions are good of the route. I'm even more excited now to get people back out here, throw a party, get weird in the woods. I'm excited to be able to talk about the route from a more personal perspective, and feeling good about my overall fitness. And I even decided on this trip that I'm going to take a stab at AZT in 2023. That's my plan, so I'm putting it out there. It's a long ways away, so something could happen. But it's good to have goals, and I'm ready to get back out there and push myself some more and give myself some goals to work towards. And man, I picked a bad time to start recording. uphill in death heat. Well, we're not in death heat yet, but just exposed. So if you've been a long time listener of the podcast, you'll know that, the AZT has always been a trail that has really attracted me and something I've really wanted to do for a long time. So got this old lady driving very, very slow to pass me. Very nice. So yeah, AZT 2023. I'm putting it out there. I got a long time to get ready, so no excuses. I might try to do some stuff before that too. I don't know. I'll just have to look at the calendar. But I think in general, just my hope going into next year is that in general I'll be able to do a lot more trips and combine those with the podcast and getting out there and riding bikes and meeting cool people. And yeah, that's just a big change for me. Again, as you've been listening for a while, you know that I've been working towards trying to make Bikes or Death my primary focus, and I think for the first time in about 4 years, I'm finally at a point where I can take a stab at it. And I'm kind of looking at 2023 as being the year that I really dedicate everything to Bikes or Death and the projects that I'd like to do and the events I'd like to create or host in the community that I want to create. So yeah, I appreciate everybody who's supported me through the years, and I hope that I'll be able to take you along for the journey. You've been along for the ride this long, and I definitely keep y'all guys with me, and yeah, we can ride this thing, see how far this road goes. Seems to be limitless, as anything. The limits we usually have are only in our mind. So I'm trying to put a lot of faith and trust in this next chapter, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I believe in it. I think it's going to do good things, and I can't wait to get there. So, I hope y'all like heavy breathing. That might be it for now. I'll see if I hop back on after this hill. We'll see. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I would love to get your feedback on this episode in particular. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Would you like to hear more like this? As I said in the beginning, I think I can do a better job. One way is just by recording more. And I think another cool aspect is kind of recording those conversations when I walk into restaurants or have interactions along the trail. Just record those and kind of throw those in. I thought that was kind of neat. So yeah, definitely looking to probably do some more of these if y'all are enjoying them and make them better. Yeah, always looking to improve. I learned a lot from this one, and I'd love to hear your feedback. Another thing that I want to mention at the end of that episode, I talked about how I had committed myself to do the AZT 300 this year, which is still something I'm gunning to do. But I failed to mention that originally my goal was that I was going to do the Lowdown, then the Slowdown, and then the Showdown. But I got so fired up after riding this route. I'm ready to jump straight into the Showdown, and I want to be the first person to complete that route. Obviously, we've done it a couple years previously, and that route was 380 miles. But for 2023, it's a 400-mile route, and I definitely made what I think are some improvements, definitely some improvements to specifically the upper section of the route going into Jacksonville, or I guess this year you'll be coming out of Jacksonville. And then I completely changed the death loop. I guess maybe not completely, but made some significant alterations to make it safer. And Stephanie Hall attempted this route in December. She had a great ride, but the weather was terrible. And I think she knocked out about 280 miles. She sent me a DM and let me know that the route, at least what she saw of it, was fantastic. But that means that nobody has ridden the entire route so far. And I want to be the first person to do it. And so I am planning to do that a couple weeks before the showdown this year in March is my goal. And so I'm going to be sharing more about that on social media. And if I can find my freaking spot tracker, I don't know where it is, but I'm going to try to share my live tracker so y'all can dot watch and follow along and all that jazz. But yeah, I don't know where I put that spot tracker. I wish I had it turned on so I could track it. But anyway, to be determined. But that's what we got going on. Also, there is going to be an episode next week that I'm very excited about. Thanks to the response that I got from everybody in the community from last week's episode. I'm ready to keep this thing going. I am fired up and I'm ready to double down on Bikes or Death. I said it before, but life is an endurance sport. We preach endurance here, and I'm ready to endure a little bit more with Bikes or Death, and not endure in the bad way. But this could be a tough year. I might have to pick up a second job, get back into real estate. I'm not sure what I'm ready to do, but I do know one thing for sure. I am not ready to walk away from Bikes or Death. I'm ready to double down and really give it my best shot. And so I've already lined up an episode for next week, and that is going to be with Scarlett and Flint Ziegler. They made waves in the bikepacking community recently. Scarlett is only 13 years old, and her father just completed the Great Divide mountain bike route in 42 days. I cannot wait to have her on the episode. She seems like an awesome young lady, and I'm really looking forward to chatting with her. One thing I'm changing going forward is for my patrons, I'm going to be releasing who my next guest is and giving them a chance to ask any questions that they have. If you have any questions for Flint or Scarlett, you'd like to get those out to her, you can find a post on patreon.com. And of course, if you're not a patron, you can sign up for as little as $1 a month. All right. Well, I think that's all we got for this week. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you back here next week. Until then, don't forget, go ride your damn bike.
It was the middle of the night. You grabbed your knife and you held it tight. The sounds of beasts kept you awake. The sounds they made kept you afraid. In the morning, you packed your bike. Memories forgotten from the previous night. You rode faster than ever before. Was it your imagination or merely folklore? Fear turned into strength as you pushed further. Every pedal stroke stronger and firmer. Your bike feels weightless, your legs aren't tired. You think to yourself, just a few more miles. Bikes or death. Bikes